Hi, friends. Welcome to Ruel's Wrap Up. This is my monthly show where I talk about the games I played in the previous month. Now, you'll notice here that it says February, March. It's because I missed a month and it's just been so hectic. I'm going to catch up right now by talking about the games that I played in the previous 2 months. You may also notice that there are links below in the show description. Check out those links because I also do a monthly What You Played where I talk about the games that have been hitting your tabletop. So let's take a look at the games. And I want to thank our sponsor, Skybound Entertainment, for sponsoring this episode. Thanks to them. And I'm going to start things off with the first game on my list, Coinhole. And what the heck is Coinhole? That's what I thought when I played it at, where was it? Dice Tower West. I had no idea what this was. But my friend Todd had a copy. And he said, hey, why don't we play this? I was like, okay, yeah, I have no idea what this is. It is the tabletop version of Cornhole. So as you can see here, you have the little cornhole things, and you just bounce quarters and try to make it into the hole. It's just like Cornhole, but with coins. And if you ever played the old, there's an adult beverage drinking game called Quarters. This is all that is. So Coinhole starts off at number 34 on my list of games that I played in February and March. So number 33, this one, I really adore this game. This is another dexterity game called Tumblin Dice. And Michelle and I played this, we live streamed this a couple of times. I got to play this with the family recently, and oh boy, this was actually my favorite dexterity game until for a month, and then I played Crokinole. Crokinole took over, but Tumblin Dice still my number 2 dexterity game of all time. You just have a set of dice, and it's like a set of stairs. You just flick them down one at a time. I think you have 5 dice each, and then at the end of the round, you multiply where your numbers are. Like Michelle had a 3 times 5 there, that's 15. And as you do it, you can knock over your own dice and other players' dice as well. So it's a lot of fun and always a hit with the family. And I'm never getting rid of this. This is always staying in my collection. It is Tumblin Dice from Eagle Griffin Games. Very, very cool. Check it out if you haven't. Highly recommend. Okay, moving right along. Oh, we're jumping right into things here. Let's go to number 32. This one is Megaland. This is a game from Ryan Lockett, and these are for our friends at BGG. Hi, Lincoln. Hi, Nikki. They're playing it on their game night show. This is a game of push your luck and set collection, a little light engine building. It's probably the lightest Ryan Lockett game I've played, but it's really well done. It's got beautiful art, of course, by Ryan, and it's really simple. You're just you're pushing your luck with these cards where you're trying to go along almost like a level of video game, like a side scroller. You go along, and as you hit the certain symbols, I think they're whatever the bad symbols are, you can have a certain number of them, and if you cross that number, then you've lost and you lose all the stuff you've collected at that point. But you can stop, and everyone else can push your luck, and then when everyone's done with that part, then you can take the resources you've gained and then buy the little different building cards that'll build your engine and give you ongoing benefits like money or special abilities or whatnot. And it's really fast. It's like 20 minutes. It's a really, I think, a really neat mainstream. I don't know. It used to be sold at Target, so that's where I actually got my copy back in the day. Was from Target. Totally got it on sale for $7, something ridiculous. But there's a neat thing. There's a little, I guess, a surprise. I don't know if it's still in there, but if you look underneath the insert, there's a promo card for Above and Below, Ryan Lockett's other games. So I don't know if it's still sold like that, but check it out, folks, if you're a fan of Ryan Lockett. A light game and always fun, Megaland. Okay, let's continue our list of games that I played in February and March of 2024. The next one on the list is from one of my favorite designers of all time, Reiner Knizia. It is Longboard. And here I am doing a little wrap-up where, hey, it's actually I called this Ruel's Wrap-Up, where I would wrap up or review a game that I recently played. And this one is basically the next iteration of Lost Cities, where you're trying to, in this case, it's more thematic. It's got these longboards or surfboards that you're trying to grow, not grow, but build as long as it can go. And they do have the numerical sequence 1 through 8, I believe it is in this one. But you do it in different, also just like Lost Cities, different rows or columns with the different colors. Now this does add a little set collection. They have stickers on there. And this one, way more interactive because you can mess with other players. And I think the why this doesn't work for more people is because of that. Whereas Lost Cities, it's very it's more streamlined, this Lost City, because it's only 2 players. This one can play up to 4, and I played a 3-player game recently, and I liked it. I don't love it as much as Lost Cities, but it does have like variable end game goals, scoring and whatnot, and I think it's a nice little take on Lost Cities. So that is from Dr. Ray K. Reiner Knizia Longboard. Okay, moving right along. Number 30, got a lot of games to cover this time, folks. Number 30 is a game that I rated a perfect 10 on BGG, and I do that, I mean that seriously. I love this game. This is Happy Salmon, and these are our friends at BGG again, this time at Gamma, way back in 2016. This is when it first came out. This is the edition I have. I like this one. I think the artwork's cuter in the original. There it is right there. You have different cards. You're trying to play them as fast as you can out of your hand. First player to get rid of all their cards wins. And you saw that. Let me back up a little. You saw them doing like a fast motion Happy Salmon. So each card has a different thing you must do. Like a high five, you're high-fiving someone. Pound it, you're bumping fists. Happy Salmon, that's where you do this and with someone else. So as you play that, you're just calling out Happy Salmon, and you're trying to find someone else that has a Happy Salmon card, so you can do that. The switcheroo, when you do switcheroo, you literally change places with someone, and you keep doing that till you get rid of all your cards. Michelle and I played this recently at a friend's party. It's always a hit with kids, adults, gamers, non-gamers. An absolute blast. I love it. I will always play this, and I'm serious when I say I ranked it a perfect 10 on BGG, because it is a perfect 10. I absolutely adore it. So that is number 30, Happy Salmon. Okay, going to number 29 now. Hey, this one I got at a friendly local game store recently. It's an Oink game, another hit from Oink Games. They do so much great stuff. This is Rafter 5. This is what I think is probably the most portable dexterity game ever, because as you know, Oink games are tiny. They're like little boxes like so. And Michelle and I did this one on stream, and it's a dexterity game. So you're building a raft, and there's all the little cards. They're just, I say not sturdy, they're flimsy-ish. And you have 5 different shaped meeples. Some are smaller, some are bigger. And those are the rafters, the 5 rafters that you want to keep afloat. And every turn, you draw from the ocean, you flip it over, and it is a board or a piece of the raft that you're going to place. And you place it under, you're going to lift one of the meeples up, place that wood piece, which is a little card, put the meeple there, and then you're also going to place a treasure piece. And as you're doing that, you're trying to balance it so you don't knock anything over. If you do knock stuff over, then some of them may count against you, some won't count against you, and basically you play until someone has messed up the board enough where they've gathered 5 treasure. And there it is. There's the big moment. Michelle dropped a bunch of stuff. Now she, as you can see there, she takes a few into her collection, and then if it ever hits 5, then you lose and the other player wins. This is with a 2-player version we played, where you play 2 different colors. Really enjoy it. It's simple to set up. This one plays, I think, 2 to 5 players, and it's one of those games that's perfect late night after you've done some heavy gaming or whatever. You just want something silly and quick. That is Rafter 5. Okay, let's move on to our number 28 game. This is a constant hit in my household and hopefully in yours. It's a game called Strike. Strike is dice, chucking, and I forgot I had this video here. This is from Ravensburger, the official video, where you're just throwing dice in a little arena. Oh, she just threw it out. If it ever has an X, you take that out. And if you ever match, you're going to take those as well, and it's the last player standing with dice. If there's ever a time, and we just showed it right there, where you take the dice out and there's no more dice left in the arena, the next player has to throw all their dice in there, and hopefully they can match numbers, because if they match, then you get to keep them. If they're X's or they don't match, then you don't get to keep them. So you're always trying to match dice, and it's a quick game. Another game that I will never get tired of. It's always a hit. That is Strike. And I'm going to take a sip of coffee because I need it. If you're watching this video, take a sip with me, friends, will you? Okay, number 27. This has been all the rage, I'd say, in the last like year and a half, 2 years. People love this game, and I enjoy it too. I'm going to be honest, I don't find it quite as good as everyone thinks it is, but I can see why it's popular. It's Sea Salt and Paper. It's a Bruno Cathala card game. Shout out to our friends at Gameosity there. And what you're doing is you're playing a card and then picking up a card, and you're trying to collect different sets because they score differently. And there's an element of push your luck where you can say at any time, if you hit a certain threshold, you can say, you know what, I'm going to give you all one more chance to try to catch me. And if everyone gets to draw one more time, play one more turn. And if they do, then you only score a certain amount. But if they don't, then you're going to double up your score. It's really fun. I don't know why it doesn't totally hit with me. I enjoy it. I just don't love it as much as it was. I'm not sure why that is. Oh, and there's a kitty cat. But you know, so many people love it. I highly recommend checking it out because it's hit with so many of my friends, and I do have the copy and I do have the expansion as well, and I'll play it. Again, it's something I don't hate, but oh man, I don't know what it is. Maybe I just need to play it more, right? So that's my 27 for the month of February, March. Sea Salt and Paper. Okay, moving right along. The next game I was introduced to at Dice Tower West by Robert at Arcane Wonders. It's a game called Ito. And this game is it was a big hit at Essen last year. And what it is, I think the best way to describe it is Wavelength meets the Mind. And it's a card-based game, and you're playing, it's a cooperative game. You're trying to say you're going to select a random category, and then you're going to play your card. Everyone gets a random number card, and what you want to do is play it in order. So you're taking that whole like wavelength thing where like, okay, how do I rank this certain category, you know, and then where would I put my number along, you know, a scale of like 1 to 100. Now this I like the original artwork from the Japanese version. It's so cute. And I'm sort of bummed they're getting rid of that. But this is going to be a big hit for Arcane Wonders. Again, another card game that plays really quickly. But here, I'm going to show you one of the categories here. Things you like to get as a souvenir, right? Wouldn't like or like. And then you're going to rank that on a scale of 0 to 100 and place it in the row of cards there. And then you flip them over. You place them all face down. Then you flip them over and you're hoping it's all in ascending order. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be a big hit, folks. Again, you know what it is about Wavelength, where there's always one player that, you know, you're trying to figure out on the scale of 0 to 100 where they think they are, what stuff is. This one is better. I think it's better because everyone participates, right? We're all trying to think of stuff here. Like, hey, popular songs, number 1, not popular. Number 100, popular. And then everyone participates. They say a song or whatever, and then they place their number there. Oh, it's so good. It's going to be a big hit. And that's why it's my number 26 for the month, Ito. Yeah, be sure to check that one out. Why is this freaking out on me? Be sure to check that one out. And thanks to our friends at the Dice Tower for the video. Next up is, this game. I haven't played this game. I love this one as well. It's a fun gateway game. And I like to say it's the greatest roll and move game that I have in my collection. It's a game called Marrakech. So Marrakech, this is from our friends at Roll for Crit. Shout out to them for the video. This is a game of area control, and but you don't think it's area control at first. You're just like, oh, I'm just rolling a die and moving a guy, you know, a merchant around and putting these cute little carpets, whatever. But then you realize, oh, if I land on someone else's carpet, I've got to pay them money. So in that case, I just landed on blue. I have to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the blue player. And then I lay one of my carpets. You can you can cover other people's carpets. You can extend your area, and you just go until all the carpets are laid down. And then you look at your money that you have, and at the very end, you're going to look at all the spaces where you can see your carpets, what are visible. You're going to get 1 point for those and add that to your money. So it's so clever. And for something so simple as roll and move, it works. And I love it. And I got to play this at Dice Tower West with my friends Aaron and Kelly. They do the Variant Hex podcast. I love that we got to play this because we got to play the giant version. So it is, you know, the oversized, like, convention size type of version of the game, which I really appreciated. So that's a fun one. Be sure to check it out, folks. Don't write off Roll and Move just yet. There's still clever ways to do it. This is actually an older game that's been out for a while, and it's always a hit with friends and family. And this is another game that Michelle and I recently brought to a friends gathering, and everyone had a good time playing it. Okay, speaking of good time, this one is a huge hit for me last year or the year before. It is Nimalia. I got to play this recently at a family gathering. Lauren and her boyfriend joined us, and we got to play, and we always love this one. It's from our friends Monique and Naveen over at Before You Play. They're doing the teach video here. You draft cards, and they are square cards with different terrain and different animals. You lay them down in your tableau, and there's different scoring conditions. Like, oh, you want all the gorillas to be next to water, or you want to have your largest savanna, desert area, and whatnot. And these change from round to round, sort of like cartographers. You can see what's going to be scored every round. So maybe option A and B are scored this round, B and C next round, etc. There's 5 rounds, and the last 2 rounds you're going to score 3 of the 4. So it's neat because you can plan ahead while you score for this round, and still thinking, oh, I'm doing all my gorillas this way, but hey, penguins next round, I have to have them every other column or every other row. That's going to be next round. So can I, make sure, can I plan for both of those at the same time? A brilliant game. I knew this was going to be a huge hit the second I played it. The demo, I took like 2 turns of a demo back at PAX U 2 years ago. I was like, yep, this is going to be a big hit, and it was one of my favorite games. So Nimalia, another one that I absolutely adore. And thanks to Monique and Naveen for that. Let's move on to my number 23 game. This one is a newer version of a game that came out, I think, a couple of years ago. This is a game called Trio. And this one was redone from Nana, or Nana, but it's Nana, for our friends from Family Gamers. It's Go Fish meets a memory game. That's the best way I can explain it. It's silly, and it's fun, and it's so addictive. Michelle and I, we played this the first time with Thinker Themer, Amy and Maggie. Shout out to them. We got to play this when we met up in Chicago last year. It was a huge hit, and it's always been a hit. We were playing the Nana. I like that version better just because of the artwork. But basically what you're doing, you have a hand of cards. They're in ascending order. You do not show them to anyone. And you're going to ask someone, hey, do you have a 1? If they do, they show it. You may show yours if you do. If you get 3 of them in a row, then you collect that set. And the first player to collect 3 different sets wins the game. There's also different conditions. You can get 2 sets that equal 7s. For instance, the 1s and 6s. 1 plus 6 equals 7. Or like a 9 minus 2, you have a set of 9s, set of 2s, that equals 7, you also win. Now, Trio changes it up a little bit with the rules. Like, those rules you play, I think you play separately. And I do like the artwork. I don't love it as much, but it's still a great game, and I highly, highly recommend it. That is Trio. Now, moving on to number 22. This one, I sort of cheated, I guess, on this, because my number 22 is Nana, the game that Trio is based on. Here's the original. This is the Korean version that my friend Jin gave me. Again, thanks to Jin. I cannot thank him enough for this. It was such a surprise hit. This is me and Michelle streaming on Tabletop Tonight live. The same game as a Trio, but you do have those 3 rules tied in. So it's like either 3 sets of 3 sets of cards, like 2s, 3s, and 9s or whatever, or 2 sets that equal 7, 6s and 1s, or if you can actually play the set of 7s, you win. So that's all baked into Nana, whereas Trio, I believe, separates those out so you can play differently. But anyways, they're still the same game. You could literally play this with a deck of standard deck of cards. You just strip out, the face cards or whatnot. Actually, no, you would keep, I think, up to the queen, because you could play, depending on the number of players, you would play 2 through 12 in the deck. But again, I wish they would have kept the original art Trio, but I don't know how that works as far as like artist compensation or whatever. But brilliant game nonetheless. Whether you get Nana or Trio, I think you've got a winner there in your hands, and that's why it's my number 22. Oh man, this coffee hits a spot. Let's go on to 21. This is a game that came out a few years ago, and I sort of forgot about it. But oh man, it's wonderful. It's by Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchback of they did a similar-ish game called Stellar, and this is a 2-player game called Subastral. And it is a set collection game, but as you go, and this video's from the Game Boy Geeks, shout out to Dan for this, you're playing in different zones, like you're going to play the different numbers here, and you're trying to collect them depending on what you have in front of you. You're going to collect like a whole tableau. I think it's called your, it's like you're a photojournalist or whatever. And as you do this, certain numbers go in certain spaces depending on, you know, color or type, and it's really good. I played this with my buddy Oscar. Now we played, I think, a couple of rules wrong, which is why I'm sort of I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, did we? Oh no, we did do something where the ones and I think it's the sixes on the other side. Is that it? Like you can go back and forth on those. But anyways, beautiful game. Really good at 2 players. I think I like Stellar a little better, but this is one of those games that check it out. If you love 2-player games, you got to check this one out. That is Subastral. Okay. Oh, that's it. The special cloud rule. Yeah. So you would go. You actually draw another card and place it there. Anyways, Subastral number 21. But be sure to check that out. I'm probably gonna do a run through of it with Michelle. Hopefully soon, or maybe I can get my buddy Daryl to do a run through with me because it's a terrific 2-player game. All right, moving right along. Number 20, another one that's a mainstay in my collection, Kōhaku. Kōhaku is a tile laying game. It's gorgeous. We do have the we lucked out. We got the special acrylic tile version, which is absolutely one of the best components I've ever seen. And the tile laying game is brilliant. Every turn you are building your own tableau, a koi pond, and each turn you're going to take at least 1 fish and an adjacent featured tile. So those features and the fish score differently depending on what they are. Different colors, different features. It's a little set collection. It's also got a spatial element where you're trying to get things in a row or column or next to a lotus flower or whatnot. So many different things here, but it's so smooth. It's one of the most, oh man, how do I explain it? It's really streamlined, and I love that, but it's got this really puzzly element that's easy to understand, but difficult to execute at all times because it's very tactical. I mean, it's strategic where you're trying to plan for the rest of the game, like, oh, I want to get this, this, and this, but tactical because things are changing. I have not played the standard version yet, but I'm sure it's beautiful. But man, look at those acrylic tiles. They're some of the nicest I've ever seen. But it's a brilliant game. I feel like it's almost like an overlooked tile layer, just because the deluxe version wasn't readily available when it first came out. And now that it's out in the regular version, I don't know if people overlooked it, but folks, if you haven't played it, definitely check this one out, especially if you're like me and Michelle. We love tile layers, and we played this one recently with Lauren and her boyfriend, and they loved it. I don't think Lauren had played it before, so this was her first time, and yeah, her and her boyfriend loved it. So that is number 20, Kōhaku. Moving right along to number 19, this is Coffee Rush. This is a new game from Korea Board Games, and you are, I mean, I've got my coffee right here, so this is very thematic. I'm going to take a sip. Oh boy, yeah, that hits. This is from our friends Board Games with Steph and Michael playing it. They play a ton of games. And what you're doing is, you see the resource like puzzle or board in the middle? That's actually a puzzle. You're moving your meeples from left, right, up, or down, trying to collect resources. And that's where this game surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be that puzzly, but it is. You're trying to be efficient with your resource gathering, and then eventually get those resources like beans, whipped cream, chocolate, whatever, milk, and trying to make the different coffee drinks that are in your orders as they come up. And of course, you're trying to do it as fast as possible, because if customers don't get their drinks in time, they're going to complain, leave you a bad review. Basically, if it comes off your tableau, you move it down every round. You move it off your tableau into your bad review section. And then, but if you do complete it, you move it to your good review section. You're going to get the victory points. And what's neat is, if you have enough, then you can turn those in for special abilities. You unlock the ability to do different things, such as, hey, now instead of moving orthogonally on the resource chart, I can move diagonally. Or certain ones will give me double the resources. So it's got that really neat engine building aspect, but it's faster. It goes by more quickly than you think. Like, once you start building up the engine, it's like, oh shoot, now it's almost time to finish the game because someone hasn't completed their orders. So I really like it. I'm going to be doing a run-through, a solo run-through, because I found a solo variant on BGG. So that'll be coming up on the channel real soon. And that is Coffee Rush number 19. Okay, let's move on to number 18. Excuse me. Number 18 is from our friends at Button Shy Games. We love pretty much all their games, folks, and this one is Agropolis. I did this as a solo challenge, which you can do with Agropolis or Sprawlopolis, or there's all kinds of Opolises now, folks, all the different things. They play similarly in the fact that you have 18 cards, and you're placing them down your building tableau. You can place it on top of other cards. You cannot tuck them in, but you have 4 different areas that you're trying to score. Like, you know, in this case, you have, the agriculture section with the farm animals. You have fields and whatnot. So you're trying to get those lined up where you have a bunch, because you're going to score your biggest area for each of the 4. Now, the thing that makes this brilliant is every single one of those cards has a different scoring condition. You just flip 3 over randomly at the start, and those 3 are going to add your scoring condition. So, hey, you might want to have your longest road. You might want to have other things like, hey, all those animals need to be next to roads or away. There's a one where you have a loop. That one is the polyomino charts, score points for each orchard in a certain spot. Let's see what this third one is. Agropolis, count all the livestock pens in your longest row, etc., etc. So brilliant. It's just like Sprawlopolis, and I think there is an expansion now that allows you to combine both of them, which is really fun. But I've always loved this as a solo game. It's also a cooperative game. I played this actually with a couple of people recently, where we did really well, and I was like, oh, this is when when you get someone that can, really puzzle things out there. It's really it's a fun experience regardless. But I forgot like how much more fun it is with other players figuring stuff out. So I don't think it has that like quarterback problem, because you do have your cards like sort of, you can play them face up, but you do have your own choice of what to play. So anyways, Agropolis, folks, number 18, yet another hit from our friends at Button Shy Games. Moving on to number 17. I love the regular version of this game, and this new edition I love just as much. This is Floriferous Pocket Edition from Pencil First Games. Here's Daryl and I doing a sponsored preview of it a couple of months ago. It's just like Floriferous, where you're taking a walk through the garden. This is a Steve Finn game, so if you know Steve Finn, you know that he does these 20, 30-minute games that are brilliant. And this is one of my favorites that he's done. You walk along a garden. It's got sort of like that King Domino feel, where you place your meeple or your tracker somewhere, and depending on how high or low you put it, you're going to determine turn order for the next turn. So it's like, I want that bottom card, yay, but Daryl goes and takes the top card. Good for him, but now he goes first on the next turn, and then it can switch back and forth. You're trying to collect different sets of flowers and whatnot. There are ongoing goals. There are goals that you pick up during the game, which is really neat. I like that because every row or every column has, hey, I can take this flower or this insect or something that has an insect on it or whatever. But then at the very bottom, literally, you have your goals for the game. So those change, and like, oh, what do I need to collect, or what have I collected so far? And you're trying to match that up. So great game. And the fact that you can play a pocket version now, this is going to fit on a airline table for those long flights, and you can play a solo game of Floriferous Pocket Edition. Thanks to friends at Pencil First Game. That is a great game. Speaking of great games, let's move on to number 16. This one I hadn't played in a while, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it. This is Zapotec. Here's Daryl and I playing it. I got to play it with the Good Time Society crew recently. We live streamed it. I think it was me, Jake, and Becca, and oh man, this is so good. It's by Fabio Lopiano, and he does those games that I love. These are Euro games that give you that little crunch and brain burn, but only in about an hour. And I love that. Like, it really condenses like these heavier games into, it's not quite as heavy as like, 2.5, 3 hour Euro, but there are decision points during the game that like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? It's like in Zapotec, you're trying, do I go up this track here to get resources, or do I try to do this? Or am I, you're trying to go on the different sections and develop your buildings. Can you develop your buildings to build up your engine to get more resources? And then it's only 5 turns or 5 rounds. So it's like really tight. And can you build your buildings fast enough? Usually you can, but then you're giving up something else. Like, oh, I really wanted to do the, I think it's the religious track or whatever. Go up that. But oh no, I'm doing that and I'm forgetting that I don't have the bonuses. Folks, it's really, really good. I really I forgot how much I enjoyed this game, and I'm so I got to play it again. That is Zapotec, and I just remembered it also has a solo variant that's built in, so you can play it solo. Okay, number 16, Zapotec from our friends at Board and Dice. Let's move on to our number 15. So many games in the last 2 months. This is an all-time favorite of mine. Y'all, if you watch this channel, you know how much I love this game. Baseball Highlights 2045. Go Dodgers! I had to say that. I had to bring that in. This is a brilliant deck building game. You're managing a baseball team in the future, so the players are not only human, but they're cyborgs that have like robotic arms and whatnot, and then robots who are full-on robots. This is the cyborg sign, and this is the robot sign. But you're playing this in a way that I love the back and forthness. So I can play, hey, this guy is gonna hit a single. But then you can play a card that says, no, she stops singles by, automatically throwing them out or whatever. And then you're going to threaten different hits and whatnot. And sometimes your opponent can stop then. So that's where you're going to actually go on the base pass. So if you like baseball, you're going to love this game. If you don't like baseball, you're still going to love it. Because my buddy Daryl, that I always play this game with, he doesn't like baseball. He loves Baseball Highlights. It's one of the best deck management, deck building games out there. It's so brilliant and plays in about 45 minutes. Definitely give this a shot, whether you like baseball or not, folks. I love baseball, so of course I'm going to love this game. And I played this most recently at Dice Tower West with my buddy Aaron, who's also a baseball fan, and he immediately went and backed the newest version that was just on Kickstarter. Okay, getting through these games, let's move on to number 14. Another game from our friends at Pencil First. This is Snowfall Over Mountains. I called this Tiny Epic Tile Lane because it's in a small box, and you can see they're domino-shaped pieces, but they're even smaller than King Domino pieces. But I believe this is another Steve Finn game. If not, it reminds me of one. It's got beautiful art, and you're just laying these tiles very chill, in the mountains, starting from your cabin, and then you're going to go lay different tracks, and there are different scoring conditions, which you see at the top there. And you just go through the entire deck of the little tiles and make this really nice, chill, peaceful mountain tableau. And depending on what scoring conditions will come out, do you have the trees in a certain alignment? Do you have the trail? There are other features as well. I really thought this was cool, and this is going to be another one of those, hey, I can bring this in literally my pocket and play it on an airplane, on a flight out, or just anywhere like a coffee shop or whatnot. It's a solo game, but you could totally play it cooperatively. That's from our friends at Pencil First Games, Snowfall Over Mountains. Number 13. This is a game that was on my bucket list for years. I kicked myself because I missed out when it was available and it went out of print. But thankfully, it's coming back in our print. It's a game called A Gentle Rain. There it is right there. This is from our friends at the One Stop Co-op Shop. Another Tile Lane. Come on, who doesn't love Tile Lane? Well, I adore Tile Lane. You have all these different tiles. Again, another chill experience where you just line up the different symbols there. If you can line them up, you will get those, pieces, the little round tokens right there. As you can see, as they go along here, you'll be adding those. See, there they are. As you complete things, and you just go until they're all gone. It really lives up to its name, A Gentle Rain, because it's so peaceful and calming. And I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get my own copy when it releases. I hope it's later this year, but we shall see. So, Gentle Rain, number 13. Oh, man, I love Tile Lane. But, hey, another small game is on. Man, I got a lot of small games this time, and I'm all for it because I love them. Number 12 is Sunrise at the Studio. Another one from our friends at Pencil First Games. This is the latest Steve Finn game. This will be out, I believe, next year. It was fully funded on Kickstarter. This might be one of my favorite Steve Finn designs. That's why it's so high up here. You are in the studio with clay making, these clay items. And as you go, you and your opponents, or this one is just a two-player game, me and Daryl, you're going to select one of the actions to do. You're going to keep resources, you're going to give one to your opponent, or you're going to trash some. And it just depends on the action selection that you do. You can see those three tiles are the actions that you select. And you're going to do a lot of back and forth and get those items and get those resources in order to make those clay items in that row up here. and then finally fulfill these orders here. It's a 3-day or 3-round game. It is, they do call them days, but they're short rounds, folks. Trust me. The 3 rounds and then most points wins. I love the aesthetic of this game. It's another one that it's a competitive game, but because of the theme, I think it's super accessible. It's like, who doesn't want to make, clay items and art? I love the theming. And Pencil First, they knocked it out of the park. They've got, 3 games on my list the last 2 months for good reason. They're just brilliant games, and I love them so much. So thanks to them for sending those over. We did partner for a couple of playthroughs, and that is Sunrise at the Studio, number 12. Hey, it's time for no more coffee. And moving on to our number 11 game. This has been a game that I played a lot recently, and if you've seen my streams, folks, if you don't watch me stream, click on the links below. You'll find me on the link to my Twitch channel. This is a game that I love, and I've been playing a lot the solo version because they have different challenges you can do. This is a game, AQUA, Biodiversity in the Oceans. Another tile layer. Hey, we love tile laying games here, but this one is cool because it's got a little 3D element. So you're putting together coral, building up a habitat. And as you match up certain colors, you're going to, if you make it a perfect hexagon, the 3 colors becomes a small animal. And then you line up your small animals. If they go in a certain shape, you're going to get large animals on top of that. And you have different ecosystems that score differently. You start with 6 basic ones, and there's 18 in the game. So you can mix and match. And in the challenges, I love this about the challenges. They give you like a prescribed setups. Like, hey, for this game, you're going to do 2 number 18s, a 5, a 4, whatever. And then so each game is different the way you're going to score them. The basic gist of it is the same. Take a tile, place it in your habitat. They must match at least one other color. When you do a perfect hexagon, place a small animal. When your small animals make a shape of a large animal, place a large animal. That's it. That's the entire game. You go until the tiles are over. But then, depending on the different ecosystems, that's where the the scoring changes, and that's where it gets so much fun. I've done 5 scenarios. I loved them all. I'm gonna keep doing those scenarios until I do all the scenarios and hopefully hit all the achievements. The achievements are great. There's different scoring things that you're shooting for. That's why I love it so much. It's AQUA, Biodiversity in the Oceans, one of my favorite recent tile laying games in recent memories. Love that one. Okay, let's get to the top 10, folks. I've really enjoyed all these games, but now we're talking some of the top 10 here. These skew towards the newer stuff. But again, the older games, as you can tell, I'm really very fortunate to play the terrific games that I do have, that I can play. Number 10, brand new to me. I learned this one at Gamma Expo. Pray Another Day. This is the BGG page. It's from Pegasus Spiel. I was surprised by the heck out of this game because this is a game where everyone starts with the same deck of cards, like a hand of cards. You have a bear, a wolf, owl, mouse, and a lynx. And everyone's going to select one card, place it face down, and then you're going to reveal the cards, and depending on what card is being played at the time, you may eat the other player's cards, or if you tie, then nothing happens. So let's say I played the bear. The bear is at the top of the food chain. That bear is going to eat anything. However, if someone else played a bear, they cancel each other out. Boom, that's it. So then we go to the next one. Number 2, the wolf. Is there anything played? And did anyone else play a wolf? No. So that means the wolf's going to eat something below it in the food chain. So it's really neat. If you can survive with a mouse, which I see a lot, it was really fun. Surviving with a mouse is a great feeling. And it's like, yes, I survived. So you're going to get points. You get the points tokens. And if you've been eaten that round, then you're obviously out of the round. But you play several rounds until there's a certain threshold hit, and then the most points wins. I was really surprised with this game. I didn't expect to be... It seemed okay. I love the art. That drew me in. Sam from one of Jake Michael's buddies, he introduced this to me. Sam, I forgot the name of the store you work at, up in Portland. He's the buyer for the games out there. He brought this out. Oh, that's a different version. That's probably the original version. He brought this out. He's like, you guys, we're going to have fun with this game. And he was right. I absolutely love this game. So here's a little close-up of, this is different. This is, I believe, the German version. But that's the game in play. Check it out, folks. It's I talked about this recently on the Rahdo R&R show. I was surprised by this, and I really thought it was terrific. That is Pray Another Day. Okay, let's move on to number 9. This game I got to try out at Dice Tower West. called Madcala. There are no pictures of it on BGG just yet because it is brand new from our friends at Druid City Games. This is set in the Wonderlands War world. So what this is basically it takes Mancala, and it's a Mancala style game. So you're dropping pieces. You go in a circle. It's a 2-player game, so one player is going to play on this side, the other on that side. You pick up your pieces and drop it, and wherever you get the final piece, you're going to take that action, or you're going to pick up other stuff. Oh, I played a demo of it at Dice Tower West. I think it's going to be a hit. I thought it was brilliant. It's accessible. And if you like that world, Wonderlands War, you're gonna love because it's got this, it's got that whole like Mad Hatter feel, right? Going down the rabbit hole and whatnot. But it's got variable player powers. There's some asymmetry built in there. I thought it was clever. I think it's really neat. Be sure to keep an eye on this. I think it's coming out later this year. Madcala from our friends at Druid City Games. Okay, number 8, another game that surprised me. This is a small card game, and I want to thank Amy and Maggie from Thinker Themer for introducing it to me at Dice Tower West. This is called Pixies. In Pixies, everyone's playing that has a hand of cards, and you're playing in a 9 card grid, 3x3. So you play your cards in the number the slot it occurs, and then if you can get the same cards, you're going to, I forget they call it graduate them, I forget the term, but basically that means you're going to be able to score them. Now certain cards give you certain abilities and whatnot, and then when one player has filled in their grid of 9 cards, then you're going to stop there and score it. Oh, and then there's a spatial element to this. I was really surprised by this, and I really enjoyed this. I think it's out, I think now, but it might be only a European release. I'm not sure if it's on the US yet for those of us who are in the US, but be sure to check this out. You'll be surprised. It's super easy to learn, but a little thinkier than you might expect. So that is Pixies at number 8. All right, number 7. This is a new take on a classic game. Number 7 is Tokaido Duo. This is the 2-player version of Tokaido. Here's our friend Rahdo playing through his copy. I got to play this with my buddy Oscar recently. Instantly, I loved it even more than the original. The original is, a chill, hey, let's go on vacation and just go eat, go see tourist sites, go give it a temple, buy some gifts at the gift shop, whatnot, etc. This one changes it up for the 2 players, where it's a little more, I think, direct, like a little more direct conflict. Nothing too heavy, because you're going to go to different areas and same thing, collect different items from the merchants. You're going to travel and whatnot. But now the board, as you can see, has been replaced from that straight line board of Tokaido to something a little more freeing. Like you can go to different areas depending on what you decide to do, which action you take. Hey, do I go along the outer track? Or do I bounce in from land to land, like from mountains to mountains? And just like Tokaido, you're going to score differently. Hey, I want to paint the landscapes, or I want to, the artist is going to do stuff, or the merchant's going to sell goods. You go from town to town. Excellent re-implementation of the game. Again, this is another one I'll be doing on my channel. I may do a Rahdo style where I play 2 players, but I'll do it single-handedly. Just because Michelle, her schedule's crazy these days. But I would love to play this with Michelle because I think she'd really enjoy this gateway game with, I think, a better version of Tokaido, and that's Tokaido Duo. Okay, speaking of new versions of games that I think do it better than the original, next up is number 6, Super Boss Monster. Did you like Boss Monster? It's a classic card game based on the 8-bit world. If you do, Super Boss Monster is even better. That's our friend Becca Scott over there at Good Time Society showing how to play it. Just like Boss Monster, you have a deck of cards, and you are the baddies in this game, trying to lure heroes into your dungeon and then taking them down. But this thing changes it up. It's compatible with all the Boss Monster stuff, but now you have a little. Let me fast forward a little bit. Where you have this town board, which gives you a few more options, and I like that a lot. It's like you're not always stuck with certain cards. It's almost like a market, and then you can go to different places if you don't feel like your dungeon's strong enough or whatever to take out the heroes. You have other options to do it as well now. So I got to play an early prototype production copy of this. I really enjoyed it. I liked Boss Monster, but Super Boss Monster I think elevates the game to the next level. This will be out next year, 2025. I believe it's already been funded. Yeah. but it'll go to retail as well. So be sure to check that out from Brotherwise Games. Super Boss Monster. All right, time for the top 5, folks. What do we have? We're going to start things off with another game that I didn't think I would enjoy as much as I did. This one is called Oneironauts. Now, number 1, it's been out of print. It's, I think, a European-based publisher. But the number 1 thing, whatever company picks it up, and I think they should, change the name. This Oneironauts, I think a better name would sell this better. And it's brilliant because it's sort of got that Dixit feel to it, where everyone has a deck of these beautiful art cards, and you're gonna pick a category. It's gonna randomly pop up, and you're gonna play a card face down that you think is suits it best. Okay, but here's the cool little twist. Now there's a card shuffled in randomly. You mix up all the cards, you lay them out. In this case, 6-player game, or 5-player game, you have 6 cards. And then you're going to look at these, and you're going to look at the categories like, oh, I know I played this one, but which is the card that is the randomized one? Which one did no one play? And then all at the same time, you reveal, okay, who played this, whatever. And then if you get it right, you're going to get, whoever picked the randomized card, you get points. It's a cooperative game. So in this case, you got 2 points this round. You're trying to get to 15 before you play all the cards. That's it. It is absolutely wonderful. I want to thank Rahdo for bringing this to our attention because he's been hyping up this game for years, and I can see why. I got to play this at Dice Tower West with Rahdo and also Dan King from the Game Boy Geek, which is this is his video. And we played it, and we saw why Richard loved it so much. It is brilliant, and I'm hoping that another, Dan was so hyped on it, he actually brought it to a publisher. It's like, yo, this thing needs to come back in print. And I hope they do. I hope they keep the art. Hope they keep the gameplay. I just hope they change the name, because that Oneironauts or Oneironauts, come on, it could be a way better name than that. But anyways, brilliant game. That's why it's my number 5, and honestly, could have easily been my number 1. It's so good. If you can track down a copy, get it. If not, hopefully it'll be printed real soon by another company. Okay, let's move on to number 4. This is a new game that's I think it's out now. I know it's on BGA, Board Game Arena. You can play it there for free, and I got to play this in real life at Gamma Expo. It's a game called Captain Flip. Captain Flip is a game by Paulo Mori. You may know that name from a little game called Libertalia and also Ethnos. 2 excellent games. This one, let me see if they have more pictures. I didn't see a video, but here's the game board. Everyone has their game board. You draw a tile from the bag, and whatever tile you look at the whatever face you pull it, you look at it, and then do you add it to your ship or not? And all the different tiles have different abilities, different ways to score. Now you can keep it like that, or you can choose to flip it, and then if you flip it, then you must put it down on that side. So it's got a little push your luck element to it. So as you're trying to line up your columns on your board there, which is your ship, you will score differently based on what you have. There's a map that you can take that map by playing certain characters, and those characters are going to your ship, of course. And you go around, and the most money wins. You collect money for different things that you do, of course. But I really like that whole push your luck thing. It's such a simple game. We played like a 30 or 4-player game in less than 30 minutes, and that included teach, and that's how smooth this game runs. And I want to thank my Discord community. If you're not part of it already, folks, click on the links below. You'll find a way to join the Discord community. The Fam Bam there, they turned me on this game early on at BGA. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then when I saw it in real life, got to play it, I was like, y'all were right. Yes, it is a brilliant game. Captain Flip. All right. So we got 3 more games to talk about. My number 3 for the month. Did I mention Reiner Knizia earlier? I did. He's my favorite designer. This is a game called MLEM Space Agency. I'm trying to say it's MLEM. Apparently, I learned it when I was doing the video. This is my run through for Rahdo. It's a sound that a cat makes when, I think, drinking milk. Anyways, it's a push your luck game. It's got dice, but it's got more than that. It's got variable player powers. It's got the different action types that you can take, and it's got a couple of expansions that you could easily add in, like the UFO, and that's going to add an element of, hey, you can use these certain dice each round, so it changes every round. Or you can play the basic game where you can just roll dice every round, and then what you're trying to do is move as far as you can up on the planet. Now, the board is actually sideways in the video because I couldn't fit it horizontally, which is, you start at the one planet, you shoot up your rocket into outer space. You're going to land on different planets. You can always choose to land on a certain planet or moon, and the other players, they can push their luck and continue. Because as you roll a dice, if it matches the space you're on, you're going to move those number of spaces. If it does not match anything, oh well, boo, you've crashed. You're going to crash land, go back down to the starting planet. And there are, again, the different abilities different on the space cats, the catstronauts, as you will. They allow you to break the rules of the games. Like, oh, hey, this one, even if we crash, we're safe. Or this one gives you a way to change numbers, and et cetera, et cetera. There's a race to those cats there. If you're the first to, like, say, 3 planets or 5 moons or whatever, you get bonus points. And then there's also the expansion that I like. You get secret missions. You're going to try to go to different planets or moons depending on what your secret mission card is. It is a push your luck game with way more than push your luck. Got some set collection, and the good doctor has done it again. Be sure to check this one out because this is the standard game. It's got like deluxe style components. That's a neoprene mat. The pieces are nice and chunky. The dice are pretty standard. I thought they'd do bigger dice, but they work perfectly fine. And that is our number 3 game for the month, MLEM, or MLEM, Space Agency. Okay, let's move on to the number 2 game. This one was just funded on Kickstarter. It was a big Kickstarter from our friends at Ivy Studio. This is a game called Veiled Fate, the Tribunal expansion. And there's actually a couple expansions that we play that were released. And this is the video we did a couple of months ago in LA. This one was a 5-player game. You can see our friend Becca there, Grant Lyon, all kinds of fantastic content creators, Paula Deming, Brothers Murph, Monique from Before You Play, and Shay Parker was also there. But this 5-player game, I played in the 8-player game with the expansion. I'm going to tell you right now, I was so surprised by Veiled Fate when it came out a couple of years ago because it's a deduction game, which I normally don't like, but this is more strategy game. They actually call it a strategic deduction game, and I appreciate that, and I love it because it makes a deduction game for fans that aren't always the biggest deduction fans, and it gives it more of a strategic feel. You're trying to figure out I love it about the higher player counts because you're trying to figure out who's on your team and you're both trying to win together, but you don't know, oh, is this person really on my team? Why are they doing that? Why are they going to this area when I want to be in this area? So you have that deduction element, but you can you'll usually deduce it by the end of the game, but there are moments where it's really fun. Like, I don't know who's on my team. I'm trying to do this mission. This person's sort of sabotaging me, but wait, are they doing that because they're so you're going through all this meta, and I love it. The expansion adds things, apparently in the original game, I didn't play it enough where I saw this problem, but apparently it was. There was a runaway leader problem. The expansion totally fixes that, because now the person who's in front, you can only be in front by like a couple of points. You cannot just run away with it now. You have to pull back. So that really adds a really cool dimension where, like, hey, maybe they do want to lose this mission because they'll lose points, and then that gets them closer to the lead, and that means maybe they do want to be first here. Maybe they're my teammate. I love it. I don't know if the 8-player, I didn't see the 8-player run through we did out yet, but as you can see, high quality production for the video. Check it out, folks. It's brilliant the way they filmed this thing, and of course the players, I love them all. They're just brilliant. And number 2, Veiled Fate with the new expansion, Tribunal. Awesome game. But I've got one more that I think topped it. This was the bee's knees for me. This just hit everything about this game I loved. It's a game called Knarr, spelled Knarr from Pandasaurus Games, but Knarr is a light, well, I don't even know if I would call it light, but a lighter engine building game using Vikings as traders. They are trading goods, going on destinations, so it's not that typical, yay, hack and slash Vikings. No, they are trading goods, and then eventually the Vikings are going to go on destinations, explore different destinations. And it's a really cool engine building game because you're going to play you do one of 2 actions. You either play Vikings in your tableau, which is called recruiting, or you take the Vikings in your tableau to go explore those destinations. Those destinations get you resources and points, but then you're losing those Vikings because they like that destination so much, they're just going to kick it there. So now you got to get more Vikings from the board there. So as you play Vikings in your tableau, you get all those assets or resources. And then depending on the color that you played, you're going to go to the board and take another Viking into your hand and hopefully play it, or you will play the next in a future round to get more Vikings back into your tableau. So it's this constant like building and rebuilding, but it goes by really quickly. Plays about 30 to 40 minutes, and I just think it's wonderful. It's easy to learn, but it's got the really nice, hey, do I want to continue building my engine this way? But at some certain point, I need to go explore and get rid of those Vikings, because when I explore, that's going to add to my ship, and there's a certain way, a resource that I can use, the bracelets, where I can get more assets and more points. And then there's another asset where you're going to get ongoing points, so as you bump that up the track. Oh, it's so good, folks. I love this game. I was really surprised by it, and I mean, I shouldn't be. I mean, the games that Pandasaurus has put out recently, especially their small box games, I really enjoy, and this one was my jam for February, March, #1, Knarr. So that is it, folks. Thank you again for watching. Be sure to click the links below where you can see the version of this where I talk about the games that you played, not just the games I played. We're going to talk about the games you played. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you here. Bye, everybody.